Here we got a fantasy archetype review of Quinn Lancer. This will be the final fantasy archetype review of Drake Scales that I end up doing. Now, I did actually do a first take of this, but the problem was that the background music was louder than the main, but me actually talking. That could be because I have a frog in my throat and this fucking cough in me that won't go away! But other than that, I'm not salty, you're salty. Yeah, so Drake Scales, this looks different. You were the very first thing I actually recorded on my new laptop. Unfortunately, you were also the very first, thing I had to delete due to my new laptop, so... Yay, you make the first in both categories, eh? Alright, that's enough lollygagging. Let's get right into this, because the sooner we start, the sooner we finish, and I don't have to make this an hour-long thing. 3, 2, 1, go. Back again with another deck profile, and expect more to come, as episode 5 is expected to take a long while to get done. I'm 20 minutes in and haven't even got to the main jewel of the episode yet, so here's the profile for... Quinn Lancer. Don't worry, Drake, I assure you get past the 20-minute mark. Quinn's deck is Swarmlegion, an archetype of insect monsters focused on fusion summoning, and turning all your opponent's monsters into insects. Funny story about this archetype in particular, this was actually made to be an antagonistic archetype at first, made for one of the members of Team Annex, but then I made up my mind about this and decided to give it to Quinn instead. Interesting little backstory about it. Given the archetype's effect, this makes sense. Hence, the really mean effects of this deck and the whole of all the fusion monsters in the archetype being of the dark attribute. Makes sense. Without further ado, let's get started. This is a little tidbit, though. Monsters. Swarmlegion Calling CICADA is a level 2 insect earth monster with 1,000 attack and 0 defense. They all are earth insect monsters until we get to the extra deck, so I'm just going to leave that part out going forward. And by that I mean I'm going to start and just say it every time and then catch myself. You can special summon this card from your hand to look at your opponent's hand. And if you do, special summon one insect type monster from their hand to their side of the field. Okay, so I'm just going to spoil something about the archetype now. Their field spell turns all monsters your opponent controls and in their hand into insect type monsters. So that's the main gimmick of the archetype. The fact that, you're turning all their insect monsters into insects, so this thing can special summon itself at the cost of giving your opponent a free monster. The problem with that, I like how they're special summoning it to do it, so which makes it sound like the benefit is giving your opponent an insect type monster. Which just kind of baffled me to me, but still, it's funny to me. See, yeah, the fact that they're giving your opponent a free monster is never a good thing. So I don't think that's a good card. But there's more to the effect, to be fair. You can ban this card from your GY, and if you do, add one Swarmlegion monster that was used as fusion material, or one polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. The fusion recovery is granted very useful. I could see this potentially being played like as a one-off in non-fusion, non-Swarmlegion index, just because, getting back to that poly can be handy sometimes. So you know what, it's got a good graveyard effect. The first effect is special ring itself, the cost of giving your opponent a free monster is kind of like, eh. This archetype's main gimmick is, again, turn all your opponent's monsters in their hand and field into insects and play insect barrier. So yeah. Not up to a good start, but hey, that's only the first card. Swarmlegion Bladed Millipede. I think this is what Quinn lost to through Dahlia. It's a level 4 monster with 900 attack, 500 defense. See, I almost started saying it again. You can discard this card, add one Swarmlegion City or Insect Barrier from your deck to your hand. Always a handy thing. It's got like the War of Atlantis or discard out a field spell, or in this case a continuous spell as well, from deck to hand, which is always handy. At the start of the damage step, this card battles a face-up insect monster, destroy that monster, which is just an added bonus on top of it. I mean, I just noticed the Millipede, it also has a Millipede that's holding a fucking weapon. It's like, not only am I fucking terrifying, I'm gonna beat you with this giant sword I found. It also looks like it's made the same parts I'm composed of. Ugh. I was born with this thing. Anyway, yeah, the whole destroying a monster instantly is an added bonus, and having 900 attack points is always just a beat stick factor. So it's like, yeah, this thing's an obvious 3. I don't need to explain why you play it. Swarmlegion DAZZLE MOTH. A level 4 or 8 monster with 1800 attack and 0 defense. As long as your opponent controls an insect type monster, Your opponent must set spell card before activating them and cannot activate them until after setting them. It's got an anti-spell fragrance effect. Where's my Dark Simorg? If a Swarmlegion monster you control would be destroyed, you can discard this card from your hand instead. I'm going to destroy your boss monster. Nope. It's a handy little thing. I can see why you only play 2 of them, but it's got a nice lockdown effect mostly, which is why you would play it. And the whole protecting your monster when you destroy the cost of this card is like handy. So yeah, it's a good 2 of. Swarmlegion Hive Queen. Level 4 with 1700 attack and 1200 defense. If this card is summoned, by any means, you can add 1 Polymerization from your deck to your hand. If this card destroys an insect-type monster by battle, you can switch this card to defense position. If you do, special summon that destroyed monster to your side of the field. If this card is switched to attack position, destroy that monster. Kind of a fair enough Goyle Guardian effect. It's on a level 4 monster with 1700 attack. You're stealing a monster for free, but if this thing turns to attack position, it dies, so a bit of a balancing factor there. Feels a little worse because of it, but the whole odd summon add poly for deck to hand makes me think it would be played outside of an archetype, you know? So yeah, probably a 1 of, maybe I go 2 at the most, but I don't think 3 is very good, so yeah. Then again, I'm a scrub, so you know. Swarmlegion Jewel Bug. 1000 attack, 500 defense, level 2. You can special summon this card from your hand to make your opponent draw 1 card and reveal it. And if it's an insect-type monster, they banish it face down. Reminder, field spell turns hand into insect-type monsters too, so the moment they draw that card, it's counted as in the hand and it's insect monster. Granted, if you draw the field spell up and it's not insect or it's a spell or a trap, you're fucked. You just gave your opponent a free card, although you get to special summon this thing, so I guess it kind of breaks. Worst case scenario, it's kind of an even out. Of course, best case scenario, you special summon this and you bash an insect-type monster, so it's like, eh. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Swarmlegion card from your deck to your hand. The second effect is the best part of this thing. This thing is a foolish burial thing target at in the best scenario, and like that second effect is really why you play this card, except for the first effect. No siree Bob. Swarmlegion Pollen Healer. Nice little Super Sentai suit. At least it looks like, I don't know. Level 3 with a 1100 attack and 600 defense. During each of your end phases, gain 500 life points for each insect-type monster on your opponent's side of the field. If this card is used as fusion material for a fusion monster of a Swarmlegion monster, you gain life points equal to its attack. It's a handy little thing. You know, life points don't matter in Yu-Gi-Oh!, but sometimes just getting extra life points to not be dead is handy. You know, if you're low on life points, you do kind of want a little extra so you don't die in 1 hit. So yeah, it's not the best card. I can see why you play 2 of it, but overall I think it's pretty nice. The life point that matters is the last one, but don't want to have but you would like to have as many as possible. Swarmlegion PETAL MANTIS. Makes me think of a trap trickster that said it's probably because of all the freaking plant motifs around it. Level 2 monster with 1400 attack and 0 defense. If your opponent would destroy a Swarmlegion city you control with a card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand to negate and destroy that card. If you I'm sorry. To negate and destroy that card, you can only special summon Swarmlegion PETAL MANTIS once per turn this way. I never see your field spell. No, I special summon Mantis negate. Basically. You can banish this card from your GY, target one set spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy it. Yeah, that last one's not. This card isn't really that great, but I guess the protection for your field spell is nice overall. So, I don't know if I play 3 because I don't think destroying the back row is that handy. But I guess having a grave or banished pop on the back row is okay. So, I'd go 1 or 2, but that's just how I would build a deck. At the end of the day, this is made for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan series, so you know. Some of this is balancing. I made that point countless times in these, but might as well say it again because I like repeating myself. Swarmlegion Maiden Butterfly. Level 3, 900 attack, 500 defense. If this card is summoned, you could add 1 insect barrier from your deck to your hand. If this card is used as fusion material for a fusion summon of a Swarmlegion monster, draw 1 card. Not that great, honestly. The Blade Millipede can search an extra thing, so it's like, why would I play this? this thing is like worse even because the Bladed Millipede is a discard to search. While this thing is like an on summon. I mean, honestly, I'd rather the 2 switch effects. Bladed Millipede on summon can only search one thing, but you got this fucking beat stick with 1900 attack points. And this thing could be like, you can discard this to add the freaking either or of them. I mean, maybe the second effect you could keep the same, but just the first effect I would have it that way. But that I'm talking about how I would want the cards to be better, and these are custom cards, so make of that what you will. That's just how I would have made the card personally. The whole fusion, if you use this fusion summon, draw a card thing is nice though, I guess, but otherwise, not. I don't think I'd run 3. Maybe 1 or 2, not 3. Here's the other side of that is you can discard the Blade Millipede, search a field spell, and then discard that thing and search the friggin' thing, insect barrier. Anyway, Swarmlegion Bandit Moth, level 3, 1300 attack and 0 defense. This card gains 200 attack for each insect type monster your opponent controls. So if your opponent has 6 monsters in the field, this means they got the 2500 attack points max. Which is nothing to sneeze at, to be fair. 2500 attack on a level 3 is nothing to sneeze at. It's a Gakugiri Panda in a sense. Except worse, because Gakugiri Panda is also nothing to sneeze at. But if I'm out sneezing, otherwise I'm going to. If this card is used as fusion material to fusion summon a Swarmlegion monster, your opponent must send 1 insect type monster in their hand to the GY. It doesn't say their choice or random, so I guess it's their choice by default. It doesn't say randomly or anything like that, or that you choose. You can only use this effect of Swarmlegion Bandit Moth once per turn. It's alright, overall. I mean, the fact it can be a beat stick if you got the field spell up is nice, but if your opponent's not playing insect type monsters or you don't have the field spell up, it's not the best. But making your opponent discard it is kind of neat, so cool. So yeah. Swarmlegion Slashing Fusionist. Level 4 with 1700 attack and 1200 defense. If this card is normal summoned, shuffle all Swarmlegion cards in your GY into the deck, then add 1 Swarmlegion Metamorphosis or Swarmlegion City from your deck to your hand or graveyard to your hand, and gain life points equal to the total amount of monsters sent by this effect times 200. The problem with this card is actually immediate when you actually sound it out. Okay, so what you're doing is, on normal summon, shuffling all Swarmlegion cards from your graveyard to your deck. Then you're adding 1 Swarmlegion Metamorphosis or City from your deck or graveyard to your hand. They're not in the graveyard anymore. You shuffled them back into the graveyard, back into the deck from the graveyard. You can't add them from the graveyard to the hand, so that line of text is dumb. It reminds me of the fucking Zashin trap card that banishes all of his fucking Archetype from the graveyard, and then the other one that shuffles them back into the deck. It's like, it's a good thing you activated that in the order you did, because if you shuffled them all in the deck, you'd have nothing to banish, and the card wouldn't be able to be activated. Granted, it could add from deck to hand, but it's the fact that it... Imagine the card said, shuffle all Swarmlegion cards from your graveyard to your deck, and then add a Swarmlegion blank from your graveyard to your hand. It's like, that's not that there anymore. But you do gain 200 life points times the amount of cards you shuffled back, so I guess that's good for more healing. Honestly, this thing is not a 3-up. It's a 1 or it's a 2, honestly. I mean, adding the field spell or metamorphosis from your deck to your hand is automatically good. But it's just the extra wording that just makes it like, why? Okay, maybe for the starting it's 1 or 3-up, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. Just the mental gymnastics, but my brain just like, what? Anyway. Swarmlegion Pollen Spreader. You had to pick that pose. Level 4, 1800 attack, 1200 defense. Quick effect. You can send this card from your hand to the GY, then target 1 Swarmlegion fusion monster you control. It gains 1000 attack and defense until the end of the turn. That's not a once per turn, by the way. So we got 3 of the fuckers in your hand. Discard all 3 of that Swarmlegion fusion monsters, gain 3000 attack points. Which is nothing to sneeze at. If this card is normal summon or flip face up, you can add 1 Polymerization, Swarmlegion City, or Swarmlegion Metamorphosis from your deck to your hand. And meanwhile, Blake in the corner is like, what do you mean add only 1? I can add all 3 with mine. Not actually, you can only add 2, but you get the idea. But like, I do like they can add so many different varieties of things. And this thing is just slowly making the Swarmlegion 900 attack point monster even worse. Which over time. Because everything is searching this thing and you can't. Except on a normal summon. I mean, this thing isn't the same way, but it's like, bleh. That Swallowtail Butterfly, the stats too. Spells. Polymerization. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters in your hand or field as fusion materials. Swarmlegion Metamorphosis. I like the fact that they have their own Metamorphosis for the record. That's just awesome to me. Fusion summon... I'm sorry. I'm dying. Fusion summon one Swarmlegion fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, either side of the field or deck as fusion materials. I'm just going to assume it doesn't mean the other side of the field's deck, because you know the other player's deck. Otherwise, that's even a little OP for me. Because, okay, unless you're facing a mirror match, you're not using your opponent's deck, because the Swarmlegion City doesn't affect the deck. It has some limitations, thank Christ. But if it did, that'd be fucking bananas. Just imagine, like, AI fusion summon using your deck. Look, Yu-Gi-Oh's broken. I won't deny that for a moment. It's not that broken. Not yet. We haven't hit that point yet. Maybe one day. Not now. Anyway, moving on. If this card is in your GY, you can banish one insect-type monster from your GY. Add this card from your GY to your hand. You can only use each effect of Swarmlegion Metamorphosis once per turn. It's a handy little bugger. I like the fact that you basically use super polymerization with the Archetype, and, well, except for the whole you can't respond thing, but it's like fusion summon using your field and your opponent's. Just a generic fusion card in general. And you can banish an insect to add this thing back to your hand, although it has limitation things, so it's sort of like the invocation, Alistair the Invoker thing, where it's like, yeah, it can do all that in a bag of chips, but it can't do much more otherwise. You can't use it twice per turn. I mean, no one plays the Invoked engine anymore, but still. That's some limitations. Swarmlegion C. This is the field spy I've been hyping up. If this card is activated, add one Swarmlegion card from your deck to your hand. Because all the field spells add an Archetype card from deck to hand. That's not even that anything to cheer about it, really. Swarmlegion monsters you control gain 3 attack and defense. It's a bland stat boost. That's not bad. Monsters in your opponent's hand and face up on their field as treated as insect-type monsters. As long as you control a Swarmlegion fusion monster, this card can't be removed from the field. Its effects can't be negated. Which means that card that's like, if you control your Swarmlegion City can't be destroyed is kind of redundant. So as long as you have a fusion up, it does that naturally. I guess if you don't have a Swarmlegion City, it's like you activate the city, they immediately try to MST it, and you don't have a fusion on the field, that whole protection effect is going to be handy. Because no one's playing Field Barrier 2022, right? Anyway, yeah. Obviously, you play it, it's how the entire Archetype works. It's like playing Malefics without playing Malefic World. You can, but I don't know if it's smart to. Some of them kind of need it. Insect Barrier, insect-type monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack. It can continue a spell. Oh, someone's playing Field Barrier 2022. Field spells cannot be destroyed, and the player can activate new field spell cards. You really control one field barrier. Swarmlegion Revival. You can switch to summon one Swarmlegion monster from your GY. If you summon a fusion monster this way, you can add one Insect Barrier or Swarmlegion City from your deck to your hand. You can only use one Swarmlegion Revival per turn. It's a handy little bugger. I like the fact that it's like, it gives me a plus if I bring back a fusion monster on top of it. Kind of reminds me of a freaking Hydrodrive card. I think it was the Hydrodrive Hunter, the level 5 or 6 tribute monster. It's like, if you revive a Link monster, you can revive a Hydrodrive from your graveyard. If it's a Link monster, draw a card. You give me a plus for using my Archetype's main gimmick? Okay. Sure. Anyway, neat card. Verdant Sanctuary. When a face-up insect-type monster is destroyed by a battle or card effect into the graveyard, its controller adds one insect monster with the same level as the destroyed monster from their deck to their hand. So the Swarmlegion field spell doesn't affect the deck, so if you're playing Swarmlegion City, you're not giving your opponent a plus, unless they're playing insect-type deck too. Add one field spell for your deck to your hand with just terraforming. Swarmlegion Barrier. The first time each of the Swarmlegion monsters you control will be destroyed by battle. This continues a spell, by the way. They're not destroyed. It's okay. The battle damage you take when battles involving Swarmlegion monsters you control is halved. You can destroy this physical card you control and draw one card. Yeah, it's a one-of. It's not that fantastic, but I guess the extra protections are nice. Really, the best thing about it is that, like, you could be like, okay, it's my turn, I draw, I activate barrier, I destroy barrier, I get extra card. It just replaces itself. It's like an absurd goblin in a sense, so that's okay. It's a 1-of, honestly. Also, the fact that you can just do that, it makes it 3-of really in your deck a bit. Traps. Swarmlegion Hyper Cutter Counter Trap. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect while you control a face-up attack position Swarmany monster. Swarmany? You mean Swarmlegion, my friend. There's no Swarmanies in this archetype. You're thinking of another archetype, unless this is supposed to be a crossover between them. Negate the activation if you destroy them. I'm just going to see what it was meant to say Swarmlegion, in which case, it's a counter trap that negates your opponent's shit in an archetype. You don't need to explain why you play it. Layer Wire. Remove or play one insect-type monster from your graveyard, select one monster your opponent controls, destroy that selected monster. It's okay. Spider Egg. When your opponent declares direct attack while you have 3 or more insect-type monsters in your graveyard, negate the attack, and if you do, special summon 3 spider tokens, insect earth level 100 attack and defense, into attack position. Necrofusion. Fusion summon one fusion summon one fusion monster for your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on the from your graveyard face down, but it can't attack this turn. Magic Jammer. When your spell card is activated, discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. The Spider Egg was a precursor to Spool Code. Bottomless Trap Hole. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy that monster that with 1500 or more attack, if you do, just banish it. Negate Attack. When your opponent declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack then on the battle phase. Compulsory Evacuation Device. Target one monster in the field, return that target to the hand. What the fuck is being launched out of it anyway? Draining Shield. When your opponent's monster declares attack, target that attacking monster, negate the attack, and gain life points equal to the target's attack. Metaverse. Take one field spell from your deck and either activate it or add it to your hand. Disappear. Remove or play one card from your opponent's graveyard, which means your opponent will let Travis destroy any target Electrum, because you can just change monster for its target. I will never not be bitter about that. Extra deck. Swarmlegion Death Warden. Now this is the boss of the archetype, the main big guy. A level 12 Dark Attribute Insect type fusion monster with 4,500 attack and defense. As I said at the beginning, they're all going to be dark insects, so and fusions. So just they're going to pretend I don't say that. I said that automatically going forward. It takes 5 insect type monsters. After this card is fusion summoned, it's unaffected by your opponent's card effect until the end of your next turn. So after this thing gets summoned, which means it's summoned by ultimate boss monster, Swarmlegion Death Ward, Solemn Judgment. Fuck! Because it technically wasn't summoned yet. You're negating the summon itself. You can target one monster, insect type monster your opponent controls, destroy it. That's summon one insect type monster from your graveyard, which the field spell will make it so, because that's ridiculously powerful. This card gains fire attack for each insect type monster on the field. Fire attack for each insect type monster on the field. This card is the only monster that's allowed to attack during your battle phase, which is like the ultimate thing. This is the I like that there's a surprising amount of Era of Dueling cards. Just like this thing is the ultimate boss monster, but it's not allowed, it's the only thing allowed to attack, like the Deus Ex Machina Chrono Beast. Yeah, this thing is a boss monster, and it fucking shows why. Just it's an absolute unit. It deserves the case of the ultimate pinnacle boss monster. Swarmlegion Omega Stag. It's a level 10 fusion monster with 3,300 attack and 2,600 defense. Its summoning requirements are 1 Swarmlegion fusion monster and 2 insect type monsters, so basically 3 at that point. So, but then again, you can use it using your opponent's insect type monster, so that's handy. Thanks to the Metamorphosis. If this card battles an insect type monster, that monster is banished after damage calculation. Your opponent takes damage equal to half of the banished monster's original attack. Very Omega-y of you. I said that the previous monster is the ultimate boss monster. This seems kind of like the face of the archetype, you know, like the, Ace monster in a sense. Once per turn, you contribute one face-up insect type monster on either side of the field. If you do, destroy one spell or trap monster your opponent controls. So you contribute one of your opponent's insect type monsters to then destroy one of their back row, which is just mwah, chef's kiss. So yeah, very good card. It's Omega Chad. I'm sorry. Swarmlegion Hive Empress, level 9, with 3,000 attack and defense. Its other requirements are 1 Swarmlegion fusion monster plus 1 insect type monster. If this card is fusion summoned, destroy all insect type monsters your opponent controls, which will be all of them if you have the field spell up again. This card gains 100 attack for each insect type monster in both players' graveyards. This card, which the field spell doesn't affect, so that's not going to help give you much of a boost unless you're facing a mirror match. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can change this card to defense position, and if you do, special summon one Omega Stag from your extra deck. It cannot attack this turn. That's very, very powerful. The fact that you could just be like, okay, I could just switch this state to attack defense position and bring out my Omega Chad. It can't attack, but you can just be like, okay, main phase 2, that monster was about to destroy by battle. I'm going to tribute you and blow up your back row. Chef's Kiss, she's a great card. Yeah. Swarmlegion Elite Spear Beetle. It's a level 7 and with 2500 attack and 1200 defense. Its requirements are 2 insect type monsters. So you can use your opponent's monsters just plain like that. Monsters you control inflict piercing damage. Oh, just monsters in general. Not even insect type for Swarmlegion, just monsters in general. I summon an Elite Spear Beetle, then I summon X-Raider. Why not? It inflicts piercing damage with battling insect type monsters specifically though, so yeah. Swarmlegion monsters you control can be destroyed or tributed by card effects. So this thing is actually the out to Omega Stag. Because if your opponent tries to do that, your opponent's got an Omega Stag, you summon this thing, it's like, no, I defy you. That's gonna happen one time of era of dueling. It's just like there's like, I don't know, an evil Quinlan or just someone else playing the deck. It's like, now I get out my Omega Stag. No, but bitch, Spear Beetle, you can't do that to me again. Fuck. So yeah, it's a good 2 of. Swarmlegion Warzone Beetle, level 6 with question mark attack and 1900 defense. Takes 2 insect type monster. This card's attack is the attack of the insect type monster on the field with the highest attack plus 100. We get a Wicked Avatar there. You contribute 1 insect type monster you control. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Don't do that if you've got the insect type monster on the field with the highest attack points. Otherwise, you just screwed yourself out of a very strong monster. It's handy, the fact that you could just clear a field essentially with that, and this thing is just going to get more powerful. Then again, this always gives me one of my favorite questions. It's like, what would happen if Wicked Avatar was on both sides of the opponent's field? Wicked Avatar always has 100 times the strongest monster on the field. So, what happens if 2 are on the field? They just keep boosting each other indefinitely? I don't know. Question for the ages. Swarmlegion Dark Butterfly. Stop looking at me with bedroom eyes. Level 5, 2 insect type monsters, 2200 attack, 700 defense. It's insect type monsters your opponent controls have their effects negated. You contribute 1 insect type monster you control. Quick effect: banish cards in your opponent's graveyard equal to the number of that monster's level. You can only use this effect of Swarmlegion Dark Butterfly once per turn and only during your opponent's turn. The extra disappear is handy, so like, yeah. If you're tributing like Omega Stag with his level 10, you can manage to get the 10 card, which could be handy because the graveyard is the second hand in some cases. Good card. Now get this horny away from me. Swarmlegion Toxic Demise. It's a level 8 monster with 2800 attack and 1200 defense. It takes 3 insect type monsters. And during each of your opponent's end phases, it inflicts 400 points of damage for each insect type monster they control. And once per turn, you can target 1 set monster your opponent controls, destroy it, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's defense. So you're inflicting 400 damage for each insect type monster they control, and if they try to be like, okay, I'll set a monster, that'll be safe from the whole, like, 400 burn. No, it's dying regardless, and you're still taking burn. You cannot be spared from me. Swarmlegion Alluring Jewel Wasp. It's an upgrade from that previous Jewel Wasp. It's a level 5 that takes 3 insect type monsters with 800 attack and 2000 defense. A level 5 with 800 attack and 2000 defense that takes 3 insect type monsters. This thing better be busted! If discards future summon, destroy all other Swarmlegion cards monsters you control. If you do, take control of monsters your opponent controls, your choice, equal the amount of monsters destroyed. I don't think I'd play that many of it. It's a very situational card. It depends on the circumstance, you know? Not that great to me. Don't think it's worth the 3 monsters, but I guess as a 1 of it's okay. Swarmlegion, Vindictive Slasher. 3000 attack and defense, 2 insect type monsters. It's a vanilla beat stick. You sometimes just need a vanilla beat stick. Swarmlegion, Acid Spinner. I'm surprised it's not Acid Spitter, but I guess with the cowboy hat, you want to keep a lasso with the spinner. It's a level 7 monster that takes 3 insect type monsters with 2500 attack and 2100 defense. Dark Magician stats. As long as your opponent controls an insect type monster, your opponent cannot activate trap cards or their effects. So you could head out a third of the game right there. So that's very powerful and kind of worth 3 monsters on its own. You can target one Swarmlegion monster you control. It can make an additional attack during your next battle phase, but this card can attack the turn you activate this effect. So this thing sacrifices its attack for this turn to give your opponent an extra attack, to give your other monster an extra attack next turn. Which is kind of balancing it out, but it's like, I don't know if I want to risk wasting your attack to get this guy an extra attack. Unless that extra attack goes to Omega Sagger, the 4500 attack point monster, in which case, sure, I'll wait. Kind of situational, but it's a fair enough card. And, you know, except for knocking out a third of the game. That's kind of like, ugh. Thanks everyone for watching the deck profile. You can expect a triple whammy tomorrow. Elena's Blaze and Pete Lightning's decks. I've already done them. So yeah, that was a cool deck profile. Glad I checked it out. I love Quinn. He's one of my favorites. This is Drake Skill signing out. And yeah, this is a great James signing out. See ya.